You've worked your way from the ground up, built a global company, and finally, you're recognized as one of the most influential CEOs in the country. You're traveling in first class, not because of luck, but because you earned it through years of sacrifice and endless hard work. You're expecting the kind of respect that comes with the seat you paid for. A smooth journey. A simple meal service. But instead, you're handed a tray with food so revolting it makes your stomach churn. Moldy food. At first, you think it's just a mistake. But then you notice the flight attendant's smirk, the dismissive glance, the unspoken message. This wasn't an accident. In that instant, 1,000 thoughts race through your head. Is this just negligence? Or something darker? What if the food wasn't just spoiled, but intentionally served to humiliate you? And what if the person responsible believed you wouldn't fight back? What follows is a story that will leave an entire cabin of passengers stunned, an airline CEO scrambling for answers, and a racist flight attendant facing the kind of justice they never saw coming. Stay with me, because the twists and the ending are something you won't forget. It all started on a cross-country flight from Miami to San Francisco. The black CEO at the center of this story is Derek Cole, founder of one of America's fastest-growing finance tech firms. Derek is well known in business circles, not only for his sharp intelligence but also for his ability to break barriers in a world that has often tried to box him out. As Derek boards the plane, everything seems routine. He's dressed in a crisp navy suit, his gold cufflinks catching the light as he shakes hands with a colleague who happens to be traveling on the same flight. First class is buzzing with quiet conversations, passengers scrolling through their phones, and the soft clink of glasses as champagne is poured. Derek takes his seat, 1C. He's reviewing notes on his tablet for a board presentation scheduled the next morning. The flight pushes back, and all seems calm. But beneath the surface, a storm is brewing. The flight attendant assigned to first class, a woman in her early 40s named Karen Mitchell, already carries herself with an air of superiority. She gives warm smiles to some passengers but an icy, forced politeness to Derek. He notices it, but chooses to ignore it. Years of being the only black man in rooms filled with people who doubted him have taught him patience. But patience has limits. When the meal service begins, Derek politely orders the grilled chicken with seasonal vegetables. He's been traveling all day and looks forward to a decent dinner. Karen disappears into the galley and returns with a tray. At first glance, everything looks fine. But when Derek lifts the cover, his stomach turns. The chicken breast is slimy, tinged green at the edges. The vegetables are wilted, and worse, the bread roll sitting on the plate is speckled with unmistakable blue mold. Derek looks up shocked. "Excuse me," he says calmly. "This food isn't fit to serve." Karen's lips curl into the faintest smirk. "Oh, is it not up to your standards?" she replies, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "I'm sure it's fine." Passengers nearby notice the exchange. A man across the aisle leans forward, craning his neck to see. Derek pushes the tray back toward her. "This is not just below standard, it's dangerous. Get me something else." Karen shrugs, feigning innocence. "That's what was loaded for this flight. Maybe you're just more sensitive than the others." The implication is clear. Her words sting, but Derek remains composed. He knows exactly what's happening. This isn't incompetence, it's humiliation, served on a tray. Derek takes out his phone and quietly snaps photos of the meal. The mold, the spoiled chicken, the entire disgraceful display. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't make a scene. Instead, he begins building evidence. What Karen doesn't realize is that Derek has connections far beyond her imagination. The plane continues its journey, cruising over the Gulf of Mexico, but the atmosphere in first class is tense. Derek sits upright, his mind racing. He's been disrespected before, but this crosses a line. A fellow passenger, a young woman seated 2 rows back, whispers to him when Karen is out of earshot. "I saw what she gave you. That's disgusting. I'll back you up if you complain." Others nod quietly, their eyes reflecting both sympathy and unease. Derek thanks them, but he knows he doesn't need backup. He has something far more powerful: his resolve and his reputation. He waits until Karen walks by again. Calmly, he says, "I'd like to speak with your supervisor as soon as we land." Karen rolls her eyes. "Good luck with that," she mutters under her breath. What she doesn't know is that Derek already made a discreet call from his in-flight Wi-Fi. His company has partnerships with the airline. He has the personal number of the airline's regional operations director, and he's already sent the photos. The reply came quickly, "We'll be waiting when you land. Don't engage further." The final 2 hours of the flight feel like an eternity. Karen continues serving other passengers with fake cheer, occasionally glancing at Derek with a smug expression, as if daring him to challenge her. But Derek simply sits back, reviewing his board notes, appearing unbothered. On the inside, however, he's counting the minutes. As the plane touches down in San Francisco, the tension reaches its peak. The aircraft taxis to the gate, and just before the doors open, Karen leans in close to Derek. "Hope you enjoyed your flight, sir," she whispers mockingly. But when the doors finally open, she's the one caught off guard. Standing at the gate are 3 people: the airline's regional operations director, 2 senior managers, and security. Behind them, a camera crew from a local news station that had been tipped off to the story waits discreetly. "Mr. Cole," the director greets warmly. "We're so sorry you experienced this. Please step aside, we'll handle everything." Karen laughs nervously. "What's going on? Why are you here?" The director's face hardens. "Ms. Mitchell, you are relieved of duty effective immediately. Hand over your badge." Karen freezes, color draining from her face. "What? You can't." "Yes, we can." The director cuts her off. "You served a paying passenger food that was clearly unsafe and compounded the issue with discriminatory remarks. Mr. Cole is not just a customer. He's a valued partner. This is unacceptable." Passengers from the flight stand in the jet bridge, watching the scene unfold. Some even clap as Karen is escorted away, stunned and humiliated. Derek remains calm, but as the cameras roll, he delivers a single line that will be replayed across the internet for weeks. "I don't care how high you fly. Racism has no place on any airline." The video goes viral within hours. The airline releases a public apology, announcing mandatory anti-discrimination training for all staff and an internal review of catering safety. And Karen? She not only loses her job, but faces potential legal action for endangering a passenger with spoiled food. For Derek, it's more than personal justice, it's a message to the world. So what do we learn from this? Derek's story is not just about a moldy meal on a plane. It's about the quiet but dangerous ways racism can creep into everyday life, and how one person's courage can expose it. Instead of exploding in anger, Derek stayed calm. He documented the evidence, made the right calls, and let the truth speak louder than any insult ever could. In the end, his patience and power turned humiliation into accountability. And here's the lesson for all of us: you don't have to be a CEO to stand up against injustice. You don't need millions of dollars or powerful contacts. What you need is clarity, courage, and the refusal to accept disrespect as normal. Think about it. How many times have we seen something wrong and stayed silent? How many times has prejudice been brushed off as just a mistake? Derek's story shows us that every small act of resistance, every refusal to stay quiet, pushes us closer to a world where dignity wins. So I ask you, if you were on that plane, what would you have done? Would you have spoken up? Would you have filmed? Would you have stood with Derek? If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more stories of courage, resilience, and justice, subscribe to this channel. Each week, we bring you powerful real-life accounts that don't just shock you, they remind you of the power we all have to make change. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't just about moldy food. It was about reminding the world that dignity isn't optional, it's a right.